Very good evening to you. Welcome to Finding Answers. So, I want to speak to you about faith. When we speak about faith, faith can be understood from many different perspectives, but from the perspective of the Bible, if we could summarize it with one word or create a synonym to faith, I would say the word would be assurance. Faith is a certainty. You are sure about something. Have you noticed that when you have a determination within, an assurance that says, I'm going to make it, I will accomplish this, I got it, more often than not, you do make it. And when you are kind of hesitant, not really sure, and you are not 100% decisive, you are struggling, a part of you believes and a part of you don't, that usually you end up not making it. It's the struggle, faith and doubt. Well, for you to overcome problems and see results through the power of faith, then you have to decide to go with the part of you that believes, and then disregard the part of you that don't. This is the way that faith operates. We cannot juggle between, faith with doubt. We can deal with both. We have to set a target. We have to decide we believe in. If it's important, if it's something that you really want to accomplish, then you lock your target and you go for it. And there's no second guessing. There's no hesitation. There's no listening to other voices. There's only what you believe. And if others agree and if your feelings play along with it, great. If they don't, it's still the same. Your decision stands. When you do that and include God in the picture, then you are using faith. It's the example we have in the Bible from a man who was blind, and he heard a huge commotion on a specific day, and he started inquiring, what's going on? Why so much noise? It's like I hear that people are excited. And someone told him, well, Jesus Christ, he's passing by. He's walking here on this very street, in this very road. So he had never seen Jesus. Of course, he was blind, but he had heard that Jesus was a miracle-making man. He could do amazing things. So this blind man, he couldn't have his eyes, to help him, but he could have his voice. So he started to shout out very loud, asking Jesus to help him. He couldn't see where he was, but he was making this huge noise, and people started to try to quiet him and say, stop doing this. Why? What kind of behavior is this? You're behaving like a maniac. Stop shouting. And the more that they were trying to quiet him, put their hand on his mouth, he was pushing their hand away and shouting even louder for help. It's like no one could move that man who was a beggar, by the way, I must say, and blind, visually impaired. After seeing this resolve, the Bible says Jesus stopped, turned around, and told the very people who were trying to quiet him, bring him over here. And they brought him. He was standing now in front of Jesus, and Jesus asked him a curious question, because he said, what do you want me to do for you? Wasn't it obvious the man was blind? Why didn't Jesus just pray for him and heal him right away? Why this question sounds irrelevant? What do you want me to do for you? I mean, obviously, but this is it. Jesus does not decide for you what you get from him. He could say, well, I need some money. I'm a beggar. Could you help me get a house? Could you show me how I can prosper? But no, the man said, I want to see. We're talking about 2,000 years ago. There was no technology available, to repair someone's eyesight who was completely blind, was sentenced to live like that, whoever was like this. till the rest of the end of their life. When he asked that, then he was showing God that he really believed. He was showing Jesus he really believed that he could do something miraculous and impossible. That's faith. Guess what? Jesus said, your faith has made you whole. There's nothing recorded saying that Jesus prayed for the man. He just said, your faith already healed you. If you decide to use your faith, you're blessed from the moment you decide to do that. I want to show you now, not something that happened 2,000 years ago, but something that happens now. The story of Aaron. Watch closely how faith works. And the faith that worked for him also works for you if you use it.
My difficulties did begin as a child, caused anger that was uncontrollable. When I used to get into fights, get into arguments, when people used to disrespect me, my anger would be so uncontrollable that even my parents or teachers at school couldn't calm me down. And because I had a mouth, I messed with the wrong person, and after that wrong person who I messed with backfired on me. This is when the bullying started happening. I felt like I couldn't do nothing. My parents would be always called up to the school, and because of this, it would cause my parents to argue. It would make my family very, very divided, very affected because what I was doing. Inside, I had no peace. I had a low self-esteem. That everything that I wanted to achieve, everything I was going for, that I thought that it would never happen. God would be something that I heard about, but I didn't know where the place to find this God. So this God that I heard about, I started to invest in how he could help me to change my life. But there's one Bible verse that stood up for me that said, through Christ all things is possible. So I thought, if all things are possible through him, then my life can change. The situation of my life can be different because I didn't want the life that I was living no more. So I started invested, I started reading his words. I started seeing my life change. The relationship that I never had with my mom, I finally had. The years that I wasted because of my anger, that I despised her. I started to treat my mom in a way that I should have. I started to see my mom as someone that can be used by God to teach me, to guide me. And this is the way that God wants me to be like, because I know God is merciful, but the way I spoke, I had no mercy for people. I had no thought of the person. And God cares for everyone. So I started talking with more care, with more positive, with more politeness to people, and making the people understand that I care for them. Also, the goals that I had, I'm also achieving them, living them. Because I never thought that I could achieve my goals. But through this Bible verse as well, through Christ all things is possible, I believe that I could achieve my goals. And I am being my goal right now. I am living my goal, which is truly amazing what God can do when you put into practice, and he can really help you.
You wouldn't fire a gun without aiming. So why would you act without thinking? When trying to create change in your life, how important is thought and action? There is a common idea that the only way one can create change is through action. We often hear the phrase, no pain, no gain, or action speaks louder than words. We've all grown up in a society where action is recognized and where hard work with sacrifice are applauded. But have we ever noticed how many people there are who work hard and don't get the success they desire, when there are other people who just seem to get lucky? This is why, when it comes to living a meaningful and successful life, we need to think before we act. We'll do less damage to ourselves and others if we do. We will also increase our chances of success. When it comes to success, you do need to take action to get what you want. However, you do need to have a clear idea of how you're going to get it. So, how do you live your life? Do you shoot without aiming, or think before you act?
So our topic for tonight is this: thinking and action. But even before we develop more into the topic, if you're going through problems, you need help right now, you want to speak to somebody, you can call us, because our advisors are already here. Our lines are open at any given moment. You want to put your name for prayer, you want to talk to someone, 0207 686 6300 is the number you can call from now on. And also you can reach us by writing to us an email. help@findinganswers.tv is the email address. Now I am here with Lisa. Good evening, Lisa.
Good evening.
Our topic, very interesting one, thinking and action. These two should be related more often than not, right? But going straight to the point, I wanna say something here. I have two sentences, okay? And I would like to get your thoughts about these sentences, right? Because on the voiceover, the video we just watched, at some point it is said there's a lot of people who work hard, but yet they don't really see prosperity, they don't really see wealth or an abundant result from the work that they do. So the first sentence would be, hard work alone is not a guarantee of success. What do you think?
Well, it actually isn't, and I think that's a common misconception that people do strive for. A lot of people work hard. However, if you don't have a clear plan and if you actually don't think about what you are doing, you're not going to gain. You need to know where you're going, you need to have that clear plan, and you need strategies in which you're, and an end goal in which you are to gain that end goal. So yes, I mean, hard work can only get you so far, but you need to know where you're going with it, don't you? And even just applying any random action will not guarantee any success. For example, you would not move a box in the wrong direction, as you know, you're not going to put it where it's going to be planned to be. You need to know where you're going to put the box, essentially.
Right.
And you know, thinking, like, we're all rational human beings, but we all need to think about where we're going, like what's the next jump for us, you know, and then we do need action in order to put the plans essentially into action. We need to know where we're going with it. So the two do need to work hand in hand.
Yeah, we could say here probably hard work is an ingredient to someone who wants to be successful. Of course, it's not, no one is saying success is easy. However, it is not enough. There's people who have worked for their entire life and barely made enough to survive. So at some point, if the person has the goal of succeeding, standing out, you know, doing great, they have to stop and think and make an assessment. Is the way that I'm going actually leading me there? And if they see that it isn't, so there has to be, as you said, some planning, some change, adjustments involved, right?
And you know, some people have great plans. Some people are great thinkers and, you know, have great ideologies of where they'd like to go in life. However, they don't actually take the action in order to get what they want. But why don't they take action? This could be essentially fear. I think a lot of people are held back by the notion of fear, and maybe they're afraid of what they could become. So essentially, it's kind of like, you know, if you don't take the action and you have great thoughts, what is holding you back? It could be circumstances, but you're afraid to change your circumstances essentially because you're afraid.
And you also have the other way around. You have people who don't have any problems taking action, but they just take action first. They act first and think later, which usually is not a smart thing to do. And most viewers would agree to that, but still sometimes catch themselves doing exactly this, taking action and not thinking before. So a good question would be why? Stop and think, why am I doing this? You know, we have people who, for instance, in a moment of anger, they didn't think and they did something terrible and regretted, you know, for years or maybe a whole lifetime for 5 seconds of anger and giving into that emotion. So there has to be a balance here between thinking and action. Don't only think and do nothing, but also be careful with doing things without assessing the consequences. The second sentence, because the video also spoke about luck, but the sentence is constant success is not a result of luck. Agree or disagree?
Agree to some extent. Agree to some extent that yes, you make your own luck essentially through hard work and a foolproof plan of where you're going to go. However, you know, some people essentially get lucky. You can't deny that. I mean, it's kind of the luck of the draw within life. You never know what you're really going to get. For 90% of the time, I would say it's hard work, perspiration, and knowing where you want to go with it. So yes, essentially, hard work, you do need to back it up with some thought. It's planning and action, and as you said, balance. But yeah, some people do get lucky.
Yeah, I think the main thing here in the sentence is the word constant. Because chance can lead someone to see something, you know, to get a big break. You know, I won the lottery, I made a lot of money, oh, I got lucky, okay, fine, even though I'm not a big believer in luck. But I know that chance happens, and people also, you know, need that to be favorable. But I also know a lot of successful people who didn't have any, let's use the word I don't like, luck. But since they didn't have it, they couldn't count on it, so they had to find their way through their difficulties and the obstacles that came and adversities that showed in the way. And guess what? They were able to get this lemon, this sour situations, and turn them into a lemonade. And I think that this is a characteristic of constant success. Yes, I do believe someone can get a success or two events, successful events, you know, without really too much planning or this, but to maintain it, to keep successful constantly, that is definitely, in my opinion, not a result of chance alone. So what do you think? So you can give us a call now, the number appears here, you can write to us your opinion, and don't go anywhere. We're gonna go to a break, and I have someone here on the studio. His name is Tiago. And all I want to say for now is that you will want to hear and see what he has to say. He's our live guest tonight. Do not go anywhere. We're going to go to a break and come right back with Finding Answers.
Do the maths. Changing your life is not as simple as changing your hairstyle, your shirt, or rearranging the furniture in your living room. You're talking about years of deep-rooted habits, behaviours and problems that are not going to change overnight. Many may say, think positively, but the trouble with that is that you can't do or change anything with just thoughts. But add action into the equation and the outcome can be different. Let's do the maths. Positive thinking plus action equals a change. Whatever it is, if the change is significant, if it's worthwhile, then it will have to take time, effort, and homework from you.
Uplifting.
Exciting.
Diverse.
Informative.
Courageous.
Bold.
Passionate.
Powerful.
Pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
So, Tiago, good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for coming to
My
Finding
pleasure.
Answers, okay? So tell us about your problems. How did everything begin?
So everything began from as young as I can remember. My earliest thoughts are of suffering, of pain, because I grew up in Portugal. And I grew up, at first everything was fine. It was me, my sister, my parents, both parents, and my grandmother. But when I was like 2, 3 years old, everything just went downhill. My father became heavily addicted to alcohol, so he became an alcoholic to the point that he would just come home every single day and just beat us. I was 3 at the time, my sister was 2, a year younger, and he would just beat us, physically abuse us. My mum, though she had children, she was living as though she didn't have children. So every night she was in the nightclubs, just partying. She would work, and then all her money was just for herself, with her friends and so forth. So my grandma was the one that, in a way, brought up me and my sister. She would pick us up from school, feed us, and then my dad would come home 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning drunk, wake up everyone, beat us, and my mum was never around. When I got to about 4 or 5 years old, my dad became so aggressive that my nan feared for our lives. So he'd come home and beat us, and then she would try to protect us, and then he would even beat her, his own mother. That's the point of the alcohol did to him. So it was just pain, and this was how life was from very young. So when I was, like I said, 4 or 5, my grandmother brought me and my sister here to the UK. At the start, she said we were going on holiday because we had aunts and uncles here. She said, I remember it was the Christmas period. She said, we're going to go spend the Christmas in London, in England. Me and my sister were happy. We didn't understand the plan behind it. But then upon arriving in the UK, she said, look, now we're going to stay here, just us. And then me and my sister like, what about mum? What about dad? Said, no, it's just going to be us. She even made it seem like they agreed with it. So like we thought, oh, no, my parents are okay. They just want us here to study better education, so forth. And as soon as we finish, we're going to go back to them and so forth.
So this move from your grandmother, you said, right? Bringing you guys over here to the UK. How old were you again?
I was 5.
And your sister?
4.
4. It was a measure, an extreme measure, trying to protect you and her from the abuse and the neglect back home, right? Okay, continue.
And
please.
to the point that the neglect was so much that she actually got the court actually granted her custody over us. But me and my sister being young, we didn't understand it. So at the start, we even thought, oh, at least every holidays, half term, summer break, we'll get to see them. But it wasn't the case. It was literally a runaway. So I started school, and I didn't have that father figure. So in school, in primary school, I was a bit mischievous, talking in class, but it was nothing serious. It was just, talking when I shouldn't be talking, playing when I shouldn't be playing, but it was nothing aggressive or out of place, just like most kids do in primary school. But the problem started when I went to secondary school. When I went to secondary school, I went to a new school. Most of my friends went to different schools to me, so everything was new to me. And the school that I went to was in a very rough area, a very rough neighborhood. So that Tiago just, talking in class when shouldn't speak or playing more than should be allowed to play became very aggressive. And at the start, I didn't know why. I didn't see myself changing in that way, but I became very aggressive. In school, at home, I'll just lash out. I was just very violent, very aggressive. I wouldn't respect anyone, to the point that I even lost respect for my grandmother. So she'll say, oh, I want you home 9 o'clock. And I knew she wanted me home 9 o'clock, but I'll come home 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock. And this started from young, so year 7. And I did it because all my friends would do it. So I thought, no, I can do it. I didn't understand, oh, how come so-and-so's parents let him stay out till late and I have to come home at 9 o'clock? No, I'm going to go when everyone else goes. I'm not going to be the first to go home. And then growing up with just my nan, though she gave the best for us, finances were limited. So she didn't have the means, even though she wanted, to buy us new trainers all the time or the latest football gears all the time, which I saw my friends having. So, when you're young and you see all your friends getting the latest trainers you want, and then I'll go home, Nan, look, I want these trainers. Sorry, I can't afford it at the moment. You have to wait till the end of the month, or you have to wait till payday. And I didn't understand that. So I started, trying to make money to buy these things. At the start, it was just money to buy these things that my friends had. So I'll steal. I started to steal even from my nan. I'll take money from her purse, notes from her purse, and so forth. After eventually she discovered and so forth. And the problem was that my nan didn't understand why I was becoming like this when my sister wasn't. Because my sister was still, respectful. She was still doing very well in school. But then my nan saw that my grades just dropped. All of the time I'll be sent home from school, phone calls from the school asking her to come in and so forth.
Probably pretty much by what you are seeing happening around you, right? There's this idea, this theory that man is the product of the environment. When you changed schools, the environment changed.
Exactly.
And you started to see other examples. That's when having a strong foundation from the family is really extremely important, because it helps you deal with this, which is something that a lot of young people in a certain way, we all deal with it or dealt with that when we were that age. But to find the right guidance, to find the right example, right, which you didn't have from your parents.
Exactly.
You were very young, you were a child, already confronting issues of physical abuse, the addiction of your dad, the neglect from your mom, the division inside of the house. And even though, as you said, your grandmother did the best, trying to protect you, but still it couldn't be all on her, right? And things then started to go to a point where you were now stealing, because your idea was, I need this money to get the things that I want, right? Carry on. From there, how did things continue?
And then I truly agree with what you're saying about having, that structure, that support at home. Because my friends, when they would get in trouble, for example, their father would come in, speak to the teacher and so forth. But mine, they would ask my grandmother to come in. And I even used that to an advantage because she didn't speak English. So it would become me and her to see the head teacher. And then the head teacher would ask me to translate because there was no Portuguese translation. So she said, I want you to tell your nan that you got sent home because of this, that, and that. But I'll twist
the words.
Twist the words. So my nan would be like, oh, why are you home? Oh no, my teacher said that I was good this week, so I don't have, we have half term and so forth. So I'll twist it completely to the point that I remember one time that I wanted money so much that I told my grandmother we were going on a school trip. So I said, we're going on a trip which everyone must go to, and this is the fee and I need this money to go on the trip. If I don't go on the trip, I'll fail and my marks will go low and so forth. And she believed in it, she gave the money. And I got away with it for a period of time until my sister, who came to the same school, she saw all my friends there and she said, I thought you guys were going on a trip. And they said, no, what trip? Oh no, because my brother said you guys were going on a trip and you had to pay this. And they said, no, that's not true. And then she went and told my nan, and then that's how she found out. So from then, my nan stopped trusting me because she gave me quite a large amount of money, which I went to spend on things which were not useful and so forth. So she lost trust for me. And then because I didn't have that father figure, my friends became like my role models, the people in my area, the older boys in my area, because it wasn't just the school that I went to that was very rough. The area, the neighborhood that I grew up in was very rough. So from year 7, 11 years old, I tried cigarettes. I started smoking from 11 years old, drinking, going to raves or the house parties of people my age and so forth. But inside of me, I always wanted more. And then I saw the older boys in my area, they had that, what I thought at the time was more. So they had, the latest clothes, they had chains, they had the nicest watch, the cars, and so forth. So I started thinking, wow, how am I going to get this? So I started getting involved in the things that they were doing. At first, they would just go, Tiago, I want you to go and rob that person. Go and rob that person's phone. If they try anything, we're here, we'll defend you, and so forth. So that kind of gave me the courage. Even though I was very slim, I was very small, the fact that I knew they're behind me, I wouldn't be scared. So they'll say, go and rob this person. I'll go rob this person, take their phone, take whatever valuables that they had. Because
what would you do? Like snatch and run?
I'll do snatch and run. Sometimes I'll just say, look, give me this, otherwise we're going to beat you and so forth. Because they would always come behind me and so forth. So I always had this courage. They're with me so no one can touch me. And then they introduced me to selling drugs. So from very young, 13, 14, I started selling drugs. Not full time because I was still in school, but selling drugs after school and so forth to make that the more money, the money they had. And the thing is, because I didn't have a father figure, my nan didn't understand. So she didn't really understand how I'd come in with always new clothes, new trainers, because she wouldn't even notice. For her, a white pair of trainers was a white pair of trainers. She wouldn't
and it was these people who supplied the drugs that you would sell?
They'll supply for me to sell. Everything that I needed. What would you sell? I was selling weed at the time. So everything that I needed, they'll give to me. Anything that they'll tell me the contacts, who to sell to, everything they'll organize for me. I'll literally just do the labor work. I was like the worker.
Right.
They'll just say, go here, this person's waiting there, deliver this, and come back.
Did you use it too?
Then I started smoking it as well, smoking weed, and I became very dependent on that and alcohol. Because again, everyone else in the area was doing it, and I didn't want to be the one that didn't do it. Because in the area where I grew up in, like, if you didn't do it, they'll say, why are you scared? Or you're the coward. So I didn't want that. So everything that I'll see them doing, I'll make sure that I'll do it just to fit in.
But at no moment you thought this is what destroyed my dad's life and I don't want the same for me. That thought didn't
Not at
cross
all.
my mind.
I wasn't thinking at all. Not just me, but all my friends will see each other going in and out of prison, stabbings, but it never occurred to us, this could be us. It could happen to us. We would literally just think that, no, it may happen to so-and-so, may happen to so-and-so, but not to me. I remember my school, because of where it was, we'd always have like police coming in, Metropolitan Police coming in and doing reports and tutorials on knife crime and the dangers of it, but we always just think, no, not me. I'm not going to be the one to get stabbed. I'm not going to be the one to get arrested. No, not me. I know what I'm doing.
But there was a point where things hit rock bottom for you,
yes,
right? And things collapsed. You're going to talk about that, Tiago, in the next segment after the break, and also how this story that is, you know, going towards a really tragic, right? And did not end up tragically. Thank God, you are a man of God today. But you watching us, you see, most of the problems happen because I don't think anyone, given your situation, once again, your grandmother did the best that she could do, but anyone with the proper understanding of what you were going through sat down with you and said, listen, you have to think. You have to think before you act. This can happen, that can happen. You didn't have this, this guidance to that level, right? So this is it. Maybe you watching us now, going through problems, maybe similar to his or different. But I would challenge you to stop for a moment and think. The main problems you're going through now, couldn't it be the issue that you got into the habit of taking action without really thinking about the consequences? Just feeling your way through things and life and problems and doing what you feel was right, but not really listening to that inner voice that says, don't. And then you're dealing now with the consequences of this kind of action. Well, the good news is, sounds cliche, but it's a truth, and I have to say it, it's never too late to change. If you're watching us, there's hope for you. It doesn't matter how desperate your situation may be. I'm saying to you that you are not too far gone. You're not beyond the point of no return. And if there is any thought saying this to you, that's a lie. That's a lie. That thought is a lie because you are alive. And as long as there's life, there's hope. It's truth. You can, but it involves change. But what kind of change? Well, stay with us. We have to go to the break now because of our time. But coming back, we're going to speak about what is this adjustment that has to be made. A basic adjustment that you can do it if you decide to do so. Through Tiago's story, you will learn, okay? So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back.
My Channel TV, featuring a kaleidoscopic daily dose of programming. Stay with us every day and explore politics, economics, science, technology, lifestyle, culture, sports, and much more. We're here to amuse you, to keep you updated, and to keep you company. We're My Channel, your channel on Sky 203.
The pursuit of happiness. What will make you happy? Success? Fame? New shoes? Financial security? Love? Education? Independence? Family? Sometimes in the pursuit of things we think will bring us happiness, sometimes we fail to see that we aren't happy, or we never find it. We live in a world of people. Rather than pursue things to make you happy, what if we all worked to make each other happy? wouldn't we all be happier? This is your UCKG timetable. We are open 7 days a week, helping you to make a new beginning. Monday, a meeting focused on achieving more in your financial life. Tuesday, prayers for healing. Wednesday, a meeting teaching you to develop in your spiritual life. Thursday, a special prayer for the family. Friday, a service for your spiritual deliverance. Saturday, Find the One, a service specifically tailored for your love life. Sunday, Reconnect with God, the main meeting for your spiritual strength.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. I'm here with Tiago, who is sharing with us his story. So tell us about the point, Tiago, when it was the lowest point for you.
So the lowest point, I would say there was two. There was cases that close friends of mine ended up getting stabbed and actually dying. And when I myself got stabbed, I think that was the lowest point, because it was at that time that I saw that people that I thought were my friends were not my friends. For example, when they were in trouble, no matter where I was, no matter what I was doing, I'd stop to come and defend them, to come and fight for them, to come and help them, whatever thing. But when I got stabbed, I remember to this day calling around, look, this happened, we need to go get revenge and so forth. Everyone's, oh, I'm not available, I'm not available, I'm not available. So it was that, at that point that I realized all these people that I'm putting my life at risk, I'm putting my freedom at risk for them, they're not doing the same for me.
In other words, you finally thought.
I finally thought. I remember to this point, I lay there on my bed because I didn't want to go to the hospital because I knew there would be questions, and then my grandma.
How bad was it, the stabbing?
It was deep. It was deep, but we patched it up. We just covered it, even though it kept bleeding. I refused to go to the hospital.
And it was what? Was it gang related?
It was gang related. Yeah, that I got stabbed because of that lifestyle of selling drugs, and like I said, the rough neighborhood. It was like, you were from this area, so you have a problem here. And then
you went to the wrong neighborhood?
They came to our They came because it was like, we'll go to them, they'll come to us. It was literally, the gang war got to the point that it was seeking death. It wasn't just, oh, I want to hurt you. It was like, I'm going to kill you. Because they had killed two of my close friends and several others who I wasn't that close to, but two of my close friends, they had stabbed to death, and we had stabbed them and so forth. So it became to death, so forth. And then when it happened to me, thank God I didn't die, but I was calling around, look, this happened, we need to go. Oh, I'm not available, I'm not around. So I remember being at home and I'm just thinking, these people who I thought had my back, these people say they're down for me, where are they now? Where are they now? So in that moment, I knew I needed to change, because I knew that I was either going to end up dead or in prison. I knew I didn't have any other outcome.
And you said there was another one?
When my friends died, when my two close friends died, because one of them, I was with him, we went to a party and then so forth, and then moments later, it was like we left like 11, 12, and then at like 2 in the morning, his sister called round saying he had been stabbed and he died. And the other one was a result of us seeking revenge from the first one. So the guys that killed the first one, we went after them, and in that same day we went after them, they killed the second one. So the same gang, they killed the second one. So that's when I was like, everyone around me is dying, everyone around me is going to jail, and what's happening here? What's happening? All my friends, close friends were in jail, and I was like, I'm losing everyone.
You had a reality check, and the understanding of the serious consequences of the lifestyle that you were choosing to live.
Yeah, it really came to me.
How did these two events change you? What did it lead you to do?
It caused me to think and realize that I needed change, to change my life, to do something different. But the problem was that I didn't know what different to do, because I couldn't go to my nan because she wouldn't understand. I thought that no one would understand, my teachers. So even though I wanted to change, I didn't know how I was going to change. Because of my failing in school, I thought, no, but who's going to want to employ me and so forth. So I didn't know where to go. Until I somehow, thank God, I managed to get into a college. And there was a girl there who knew of me, and she saw me. And she could see, well, everyone could see that I needed to change. Everyone knew my story. They knew, oh, he's from this gang and so forth. So she started inviting me to her church. But me, I was like, why am I going to go to church? Like, what's church going to offer me? Because I had been in church when I was young and so forth, so I thought, no, I need to change, but this is not the way. But she insisted for 2 years. For 2 years, she was insisting, just come with me, just come with me, just come with me. And I was like, no, not today, I'm busy. Even when I wasn't busy, I just made that excuse, no, I'm busy and whatever. I remember her last invitation, she said, look, I know I've been nagging, but just come. If you don't like it, I'll never invite you again. So in my mind, I was like, I'm going to go just to shut her up in a way. I'm going to go just so I don't have to hear her invite me again. Because literally every time she'll see me, Tiago in church. So I thought, okay, let me go. And then she can't say that I haven't tried. Mm-hmm. And then when I went there.
So you really didn't believe that going to a church or trying to turn to God would help you?
Because my family was religious. My family, they prayed. I saw Bibles in my house. I saw images and so forth, but I was like, where is God and so forth? I've been to church before. If that was the answer, I would have found it long ago. Even though I know I needed change, I was thinking that it was going to be something out of this world, something out of the box, when the answer was there all along.
Yes, so you finally went, and then what happened?
There, I came there and they had a youth group. So first I started in the youth group of the church, and I saw many young people. They were happy, the environment was different. When I first went there, to be honest, I thought she had set me up, because I went there and I saw so many youths, and I was like, no, she brought me to a place but then I saw they were happy, they were doing different activities and tasks. And what stuck out for me was that there was a life story of someone who had changed, someone who was known in that area that I was from, and he changed. And then I was like, no, this guy changed. I couldn't even believe it. Mm-hmm. And then he was telling his story, and because, like I said, he was known in the area. So we were like, right, so maybe it is. So that caught my attention. So I started coming more and more and hearing more real life stories, the environment. So that environment, it was safe. It was a place which in my area, I didn't have too many safe places. Not even my home was safe, because a lot of my enemies knew I lived. So it was a place that while I was there, I knew no one's going to stab me, no one's going to shoot me, and everyone here, at least they're showing that they like me and so forth. And I was seeing that life story. So I think, okay, why not me? Maybe this is the answer. So I started coming more and more, and bit by bit, I started seeing changes, small changes, but I started seeing my mentality change. I started to see things progressing in my life and so forth. So I thought, this is the place. Let me throw myself in completely and see where it takes me. Mm-hmm. But one thing, as you were speaking about acting without thinking, I remember the first messages I remember hearing in the church was, where are you going with your life? Where are you going to be in 5, 10 years from now? Because now it's all fun and games, but where's your life going to take you? Where are your actions that you're making today going to take you tomorrow? So that really clicked, because though I had people saying, oh, Tiago, you need to change, you can't carry on like this anymore, I just used to brush it under the carpet. But when the person really delivered that message, like, where are you going with your life? What's your life going to be? Are you going to be those people who don't make any difference in life, that their life just doesn't do anything? Or are you going to be someone who your life will even influence others? Your life will bring happiness to your family members. So that also made me think.
In other words, from what I'm hearing and understanding from you, one word was all that it took.
One word.
But it was one word inspired by God.
By God, definitely.
He gave to people of God who said that, and you finally thought about it. And this is what you need. It's not maybe you can have the idea that for your life to change, there's like 1,000,001 things that have to happen, when actually all that you need to hear is one word. But the word you need to hear, I don't know what this word is, but God knows. And He can use one of His servants, someone who serves Him sincerely, to say that word to you. And when you hear this word, and not only hear it, but you start to take actions and line your life up, together with this word, then everything changes. So if you want this, if you want to hear, I want to know what this word is, Edward. How do I do it? Get help. If you want our help, call us now, 0207-686-6300. That's the answer to what I was speaking about in the other segment. What do you need for your life to change? You only need one word, one direction that comes from God. Your life today, Tiago, after that word led you to changing your mindset, your behavior, how is your life today?
Completely different. It's like a different Tiago, and it's not just me saying it, everyone around me could see it. Because even after my change for a period of time, I was still living in the same neighborhood, but everyone that I was getting up to mischief with, they could see a difference. They're like, Tiago, you really changed. I was no longer influenced by them, but on the contrary, I was influencing them to do positive stuff. My grandmother, she even said, look, you're different. I don't know what it is. The same woman that I'll come home late, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and see on the staircase crying because of me, she's the one that now I managed to bring a smile to her face, that she can genuinely say, I am proud of him. My sister, likewise, and so forth. So my life is completely different. I no longer need to carry weapons, knives, guns. I no longer have to be watching over my shoulder because this person may want to harm me, so forth. My life is completely different. I'm no longer addicted to depend on alcohol, sleeping around, none of this stuff, because inside of me, I'm happy. I'm happy with where my life is today and where it's going.
You are at peace.
I'm at peace.
Yeah. And today you are a youth mentor.
Yes.
Right? In the church you attend, you are a youth mentor,
yes.
Right? Helping others to achieve the change that you did.
Yeah.
Well, it's an amazing story. This is the fact. You see, we're not only showing you theory, but facts. Someone like Tiago could change. You can change. Give yourself this change because you deserve it. Once again, you can call the number now that appears on your screen. Our advisors are here to speak to you. Get help. You won't regret it. By the time we come back, Pastor Douglas Lima is going to join us here in the discussion about thinking and action. And you can prepare a glass with water because we'll bless you during the prayer towards the end of tonight's Finding Answers episode. We'll be right back.
I used to suffer from really, really bad migraine headaches. I was very depressed. I didn't see much point in living, and I used to constantly go to see clairvoyants. In the end, I became addicted to the tarot card readings because I was always hoping that they would tell me something positive, but a lot of the time they kept telling me that somebody was going to die in my family, and I never heard what I really wanted to hear, but I just kept going back with that hope that one day I will hear exactly what I want to hear when they open the cards. So things weren't getting any better. But one day someone invited me to come to the spiritual cleansing therapy sessions, and in the spiritual cleansing therapy sessions I began to learn what to do, how to stop all the negativity that was surrounding my life, because I felt like there was a heavy cloud around me. And through the sessions it's like that cloud started to lift, the depression started to go, the migraine headaches stopped, I stopped crying every night, I stopped feeling suicidal. And things just changed around, and today I don't have any of those problems anymore. I'm happy, I'm not depressed, I don't have headaches, I don't need to go to see a clairvoyant now because I'm really happy with my life and I have so much hope for my future.
The UCKG Helpline Call Centre is open 24 hours a day, every day of the week, all year round. If you need help due to a serious problem you may be going through, if you feel that you have nowhere to turn to and desperately need someone to lend a listening ear, then we can help you. It doesn't matter who you are or what you have done, your religion or race, your call will be answered by someone who genuinely cares about you and has your best interests at heart. We also arrange home visits for the housebound and hospital visits for anyone in great need of kindly human contact. Whether it is simply information you want or desperately need someone to talk to, we're here for you on 0207 686 6000.
Hello and welcome back to Finding Answers, where tonight we're talking about thinking versus action. But what about you? Do you think before you act? We sent Kirsty out to the streets of London to find out.
Definitely depression is probably number one.
They're arguing and they're talking negatively about each other.
What is more valuable than another? And so
you can have as many friends and family as you want. It just depends.
Is a common regret, like, oh, like I should have like asked that person out, or like.
Hi everyone, it's Christy here on Finding Answers, and tonight's topic is thinking versus action. I'm sure that the phrase action speaks louder than words must sound quite familiar to all of us. And although this may be technically true, why is it that we find taking action such a hard thing to do? Well, let's see what the public have to say. Do you find taking action something hard or easy to do?
No, I think it should be an easy thing. For me, it's an easy thing. For some people, it's not. But it's just supposed to be an easy thing when someone gets hurt on the street or anything, just to do something to help people.
Personally, easy. Because I'm a very laid-back person, so I'm very calm and collected. Yes, I get angry or annoyed. You know, we all do. We're all human. But if I feel that something's worth sorting, I consult in friends, consult in family, consult in partner to take that action. So, you know, have a think about it, then I'll do it. And I always advise people to do the same. You know, if you feel that you need to do something, whatever it is, if you're happy with the decision, then go for it. So personally, I find it quite easy.
Yeah, same. I think it's quite easy, but I always think there's time and a place to do it. Like, you've got to be, I think, in the right frame of mind to do that kind of action. Because like I said, if you're in an aggressive mode, the action might be wrong. But if you're like in a, so I think like try and do it quite calm atmosphere. So, but yeah, it can be good to get it out there as well.
It depends on the situation. Some action can be easy, but then a lot of action is quite hard. Like, you know, if it could be something out of your control that you can't act on. I think it depends on the situation.
I used to find it really hard. I was quite a lazy person for a long time, and then I moved to London, and then you just have to get on with things. You have to sort of, you sort of tend to build yourself up and take things in your stride. You like be a stronger person. Yeah, I used to avoid doing things. I would try to do the least amount of things, typical teenager behaviour, but I think now everything I do is for the benefit of myself and for people around me.
We're coming to the end of tonight's episode, but before we pray for you, I have here with me Pastor Douglas Lima. Good evening, Pastor Douglas.
Good evening, Edward. How are you?
Fine, thank you. And your comments on tonight's subject, thinking and action.
Of course, when we just watched the street interviews now, one of the interviewees said something really interesting. He said, if you feel like and then think that what you have to do is the right thing to do, then do it. The problem is that in this whole process of feeling, thinking and acting, a lot of people skip the thinking step, which means people usually tend to feel and act, and that's where we have poor results. So, you know, from now on, dear viewer, that's the advice that we have to offer you. You know, before you act, don't just feel, but think first and see if it's really worth it taking that action.
Yeah, because many times what we feel isn't really the best option possible. And if we just go by feelings, if we're operating on emotions, it's a problem because first of all, our emotions are not dependable, right? They're not reliable. And I think that the best evidence that this isn't a good idea is life itself, where people can find that the worst mistakes made were those where they took action without the proper thinking of the consequences.
Correct, yes, and emotions aren't something really that are there to make decisions. Emotions have a complete different function, and that's the problem when people don't know when to use thinking and when to use emotion.
Absolutely right. So would you like to get help with that? Is it difficult for you to act in a reasonable way? So prayer can make a change for you, no matter what the situation is. Let's unite our faith right now. It's the moment of prayer.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer concerning your family and loved ones, send your name and prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
God, we unite our faith with the viewers who called Finding Answers tonight, those who sent us an email, and those who are just watching us but joining us in this prayer. Help them be able to change as Tiago was able to change. Even those that think that they're too far gone or it's impossible for them to see a way out. Through this short prayer, send them your power, send them your strength that they may decide and fight and change their lives around. I bless you, viewer. I bless your family. I bless your loved ones. I bless this evening, this weekend, and I determine it will be different altogether because you're starting it with a prayer. I bless this glass of water and determine the moment you drink, you'll be energized by God's power. And if you do believe, you can say amen, amen, and drink the water now. So we believe that you have been blessed by this prayer, and this is it from us tonight. Have a wonderful weekend. Till next time, bye-bye.